Hi, everybody. This is Kat Day, and I'm with SPM Media and TV and Magazine, and we are here with Steve Jennings. And Garrett, take it away.
Hi, Steve. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Garrett. How are you?
I am doing good, doing good. It's nice and cool up here in central Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's nice and warm down here in central Florida.
Yep, there you go, there you go. So I see on your shirt there, it says PBIA, and I take it you're a PBIA instructor. Why don't you tell me a little bit more?
Well, I'm a PBIA master level instructor. I've been with them since before they were PBIA, back when it was the BCA instructor program. I'm also a level 4 instructor with the ACS, American Q Sports Alliance, and right. I've been an SPF trainer for over 20 years.
Wow.
So that's my teaching background.
Right, right. Okay, now you say teaching background. What is your background in pool and billiards?
Oh gosh, I started playing pool when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
You know, started playing at the house. We had a table at the house, and then graduated when I got old enough to go into a pool room. Went through and used to lose my allowance every week to the big kids.
Yeah.
And played when I was in the service, and then when I got out, started playing in tournaments and league, and just the normal pathway
Transition
for us degenerate pool players.
Right, right. So at what point did you go from a pool player to a pool instructor, and what was the change that you made?
Well, I had been playing in tournaments for quite some time, and I got the opportunity to go to pool school.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, hey, that's going to probably give me some good tips. I was fairly accomplished, but I wasn't great.
Right.
But I thought, well, hey, I can learn some things. I went to a school with Randy Getlicker, who
Wow.
is one of the founders of this instructor program, along with Jerry Bryseth and Scott Lee.
Right.
Rest in peace, Scott. And I spent 3 days in his school and walked away and thought, my gosh, why didn't somebody teach me all this stuff 30 years ago?
Right.
And so I contacted Randy and I said, look, I want to become an instructor. I want to be able to share this information with as many people as I possibly can. I never had that opportunity. You know, we didn't have we didn't have the internet when I was growing up.
No, yeah.
So it was sort of learned by doing and trial and error. And I thought, this is so great to be able, particularly to work with the younger players and get them started off the right way. And so I went to Randy. I had spent time with him in Dallas at his school, worked with multiple other instructors over the years. And I just decided that this was the direction I wanted my pool career to go.
Right.
So
how old were you at that time?
I won't say, pardon?
How old were you at that time?
Well, let's see. I was late 40s.
Yeah.
Getting close to 50.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was a more productive way for me to use what I knew and be able to help other people. And that's
right.
I have more fun. I'll tell you, it's the truth. I have more fun teaching pool than I ever had playing in tournaments.
Wow.
It's just it's so much fun to be able to help other players see the things that they need to know.
Do you have any of your students that have made it into the rankings, the high rankings?
Not well. I guess it depends on what you call high ranking. you know, I've got some fairly accomplished players that have made it out to, you know, the championships in Las Vegas. I had two that were playing recently in the APA singles championships down here in Tampa last month. Probably my most notable one, the one that was most fun anyway, was I had a 14-year-old boy, and his parents asked me if I could work with him and help him. And so I said, well, I'd like to talk to him. And I talked with him, and I asked him, I said, what are your goals for pool? Okay, it's a 14-year-old boy, because I want to go to the junior national championships.
All right.
And I was like, well, that's a lofty goal, but it's certainly something we can work at. And I spent about 8 months with him, and we got him out to the BEF Junior Nationals in Las Vegas. And his first time out, he finished 17th.
Wow.
That's pretty fair.
That's pretty good.
Now, when you say you instruct people, do you do it? How do you set it up? Is it like a once a week type of thing? Is it once every few days? Or how do you transition? When you say 8 months, you mean 8 months every day of the week, or how do you work that?
Well, with him, we were meeting probably twice a week. And
okay.
We'd spend a few hours twice a week, but it was a good long 8 months. Normally, what I do it one of two ways. I either have, if I'm working one-on-one with a student, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll set up a 2-hour session and then say, all right, let's do this again next week, and do another 2 hours, and go over each part of the program and give them time to absorb it.
Right.
If I get into the group setting where we do actual schools, I'll set that up usually for like 3 days. And it's pretty intense. I'll get 7 or 8 students. And if I have that many, I usually will find another instructor to come in and assist, because I want the students to get that personal attention. Mm-hmm. So, 3 days, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll take over a pool room for 6 or 7 hours a day for 3 days. And I have a workbook that I use. I hand out. Everybody gets a copy of the workbook, and hand that out. And we go through the workbook, do the demonstrations, try to let the students spend as much time at the table as they can doing the things that we've just finished talking about. And that's pretty much the format for the schools. So it depends on whether it's a school or just private instruction.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty intense there. Now, you guys in Florida, do you have any other instructors that are nearby you in your direct vicinity that you work with?
I have one over on the West Coast, over in the Gainesville area, that I work with. His name's Buddy Register, and he is also a master instructor. I have other instructors that I have certified pretty much all over the Southeast. So, and I do travel. So last month I was in North Carolina. I did an instructor training class, and I had one of my former instructors and 3 new instructor candidates, and we got them all certified. So North Carolina now has 3 brand new instructors, and one that I was able to get upgraded while I was working with him. Right.
Now, do you still compete?
Not really. I'm 70 years old. Come on. My day is behind me, but it's not my focus anymore. My focus is to help somebody else. Gosh, if I can get one of my students to get to that top level, then I've had my success.
Right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So you have a few of these certifications. What's next for you in your billiard training and education platform?
Well, it's an ongoing process. I'm still learning. I will, until I die, I'm going to be learning.
Right.
Because there's just so much. But what I do every year, like I said, we have a group that we all work very closely together with. And once a year, we try to get together. Mm-hmm. And we can use that time to share ideas, to discuss different areas of what we're teaching and how we teach it and what's the most effective for our students. And somebody will come up and say, well, hey, I've just found this and it's working really good. And we'll say, well, gee, maybe we all need to incorporate that. And so it's always developing. We're getting further and further along. So my goal now is that there is no higher level with the organization. So I'm at the top level. I not only teach students, I certify new instructors, I upgrade instructors. I'm there, but it's not the end of the journey because I want to continue to I want to be a better instructor. I want to be a better instructor next week than I was this week. And so, I mean, we're constantly.
When you have a bunch of different students at different skill levels, how do you identify where they're at and set a goal from where they're at to where they want to be?
It doesn't take long. I mean, I can talk to people and I can learn a little bit about them. And then once they get on the pool table, it's pretty easy to see. So, but the funny thing is that the beginning students and the more advanced students work well together because the beginning students actually pick it up quicker. I don't have to break bad habits. I can just say, this is the way we want to do it. The more advanced students, it's like, I know this is what you want to do, but you got to try and do this instead. So, you know, it's, as they say, it's much easier to get develop a new habit than it is to break an old.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So out of the students that you have coming out that are becoming new instructors, who's on your list?
Oh gosh, well, I had the three that I did in North Carolina last month was Chuck Ritchie, Cornelius Wilkins, and don't do this to me, brain. Oh gosh, it'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. Dwight Lovick was an instructor I had certified a couple of years ago. He did an upgrade by helping me teach that class. There's always new instructors coming into the program. You mentioned Brad. Brad went to Randy out in Dallas. And that's where he got certified. And then Randy called me up and said, hey, can you work with this guy? Because he's a brand new instructor and you know, I'd like to make sure that he comes along. I'm like, sure. You know, we all, our core group, we all work really close together. You know, I work with Eddie Israel, who is he's the lead instructor for the National Billiard Academy, the NBA, which was Tom Simpson's old school. After Tom passed away, Eddie took over. And Eddie will get a class that he's got too many students in, and he'll call me up and say, hey, can you help me teach class? Well, sure. You know, and he would do the same thing for me. That's just how our group likes to work together. And the opportunity to work with different instructors is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, we may be teaching similar ideas, but he may have a different way of presenting it than I've ever considered. And I go, wow, that may work for certain students.
Right.
So
now let me ask you this. What's the pool scene like in Central Florida where you're from? Like, are there a lot of pool halls around? What are people playing with? I know that Predator is down there, and they're pretty affluential in Florida area. What is the general pool scene out where you're at?
I'll tell you the truth. I moved down here about a year and a half ago from North Carolina. I was in Charlotte the better part of my life. And I'm astonished at how many pool tournaments we have down here. It's like there's something going on within driving distance any day you want to play.
Yeah.
So it's very active. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, getting ready to do my 5th school in Florida, and I've only been down here for 14 months.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Now, what are the pool halls like? Do you have any larger ones that are down there?
Oh yeah. Where I am, I'm right outside of Daytona Beach. I'm in Ormond Beach. Daytona has a couple. They have Brown's Billiards and they have Uncle Waldo's, and they're both big league and tournament rooms. There's a room over in Stanford called Racks. Very nice room. I've been to a couple up in Jacksonville. Park Avenue Billiards in Jacksonville is a gorgeous room. We just did.
What do people usually predominantly play on down there? What do they play on for pool tables? Is it diamonds? Is it all valleys? What is
everybody wants diamonds?
Yeah.
That you know, I don't. There's a couple of places I've been that are, you know, what we call the bar box rooms, but I tend to find myself going more toward the pool rooms than the bars.
Yeah.
And so if I got a place that's got 8, 9 foot tables, I don't really care if they're Diamond or Brunswick or what they are. If they're 9 footers, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You brought up 9 footers. Do you see that being the future or the past of pool? The reason that I asked that is because a lot of tournaments and a lot of nationals and APA and stuff like that are all played on bar boxes. And people aspire to go and play, and when they go and play on leagues, for example, a lot of them are on bar boxes. So, and I know a lot of tournaments are on 9 footers, but where do you see the transition from league to tournament?
I see a lot of rooms that are splitting. They'll have half of their room be 9 foot tables and the other half be 7 foot tables.
Right.
But even at the 7 foot tables, they seem to be opting more toward the diamond 7 foot, as opposed to the coin operated tables.
Right.
So that seems to be the direction that they're going. They're serving both. And I think it's a great way to do it.
Right.
We've got a flyer that's in the mag this month for Wax Billiards, and Randy Gottlicker and the drill instructor and Dr. Q, Tom Rossman are all going to be there on March 26th and 27th.
Yep. I'm either going to go over there and be a fly on the wall, or I'm going to be assisting another school up in Jacksonville, depending on what their student load is. But
Right.
I'll be in a school one way or the other that
Right.
weekend.
Right. Do you have a website?
No, I don't. I have a Facebook page.
Right.
But, no website. If people want to know about our organization, and if they're looking for an instructor, you know, the best thing they can do is look for a certified instructor in their area. And both the PBIA, which is playbetterbilliards.com, and the ACS website, American Q Sports Alliance, have locators on their websites where you can go on and just click find an instructor and put in what state you live in, and you'll get a list of all the certified instructors. And I'd like to stress the importance of getting a certified instructor.
Right. And why is that?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation in the world today.
Of course.
Politically, billiards wise. The internet has opened up so much for pretty much anybody that's got a webcam can put together a video and say, hey, here's how you play pool.
Right.
The certification process that our instructors go through, they have to meet certain requirements, and they only get certified if another instructor, and it has to be either an advanced or a master instructor, either a level 3 or level 4 instructor, to bring on board a new instructor. So we have to make sure that the new instructors are meeting the requirements that they have to be a certified instructor. So if you're looking for somebody to help you, that's the first place you want to go, because obviously a certified instructor has been through the training, they have the material, and they have shown the ability to communicate so that their students can understand the concepts they're teaching.
Right. Do you have any like, how do you say, like places where you go and sell and buy and sell pool equipment in Central Florida, outside the pool rooms, like I'm having trouble finding the word here, but a pro shop. There we go. Do you have any pro shops in your area?
There's one in Daytona that I'm aware of, and it is in one of the pool rooms. Okay. But the owner of the pool room has a pro shop in back, and he does cue repair, and they do sales and that type of thing. Uncle Waldo's has a lot of cues and gloves and all the accessories and everything they sell in there. And then Too Easy Billiards has a guy that does cue work. And I know there are others. I can't tell you where they are. The last cue that I bought, I play with custom cue.
Yeah. Okay. What cue do you play with? Who do you play with?
Steve Lomax.
Oh yeah, I know Lomax.
Yeah. I've fallen in love with that cue. So, and it's, you know, it's not the cue. Okay. And I stress that with all of our students. You know, you can't, a $1,000 pool cue isn't going to fix a $5 stroke. That's just a fact. You have got to be able to use it. And that's the, you know, the main premise of what we do in our schools. We don't teach people in our classes. We're not teaching you how to shoot 3-rail kick shots and bank shots and the impossible, the Efren Reyes Z shot or something like that. That's not what we do in our school. We believe that you teach behind the cue ball. You can put balls and a cue stick on a table and walk away, and when you walk back, they won't have done anything. They can't. Okay? It all happens because when you pick up that stick, you direct it to tell the balls what you want to do.
Right.
So everything that happens in pool happens behind the cue ball. Everything beyond the cue ball is physics.
Yeah.
We can't control that. Those are the laws of physics say when this ball hits that ball, this one's going that way and this one's going that way.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen.
We're going to take a small commercial break here for our one of our sponsors, Fort Worth Billiards, and we'll be right back.
Can I throw in a quick one?
Of course.
I told you as soon as I stopped thinking about it, Nicholas Rogers.
Okay.
Was the other one.
All right, there you go.
And we're back.
And I want one of those in my town.
Right?
That is a
I know.
beautiful place.
It sure is.
I think he has a total of like 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
5,000 is the main, I think his main area. Then the other is the warehouse and stuff or whatever.
It's so hard to find a place that actually stocks pool cues anymore because so many people have just gotten to the point where they're buying online.
Right.
And, you know, I like the internet. I use the internet. I'm glad we have it, but it has its downside too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people will ask me if I do online instruction, and I tell them no. I don't believe that you can get the quality of instruction. We've all learned that in the last 2 years from this pandemic. If you got kids in school, you know that they didn't get the education while they were being schooled on video that they get when they're in the classroom. And I believe the same thing's true for pool players. You can learn something on the internet, but I think you learn it much better if you actually get hands-on in-person instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to both sides of that.
Yeah.
It's definitely at some point it's a transitional point where you're going to see more of that. At some point where we're at right now is where you have a lot of hands-on, where you have a lot of instructors that are doing what they do. And like you were just saying with you, if you have too many students, you have another instructor that you're kind of helping them and having him pass off to, and vice versa.
Right.
And I think that that's important for where we're at. Let me ask you this. You've been doing this for a long time. You've obviously seen a lot of ebbs and flows of the industry. Where do you think that we're at right now? Do you think we're on an upswing, or do you think we're on a recess, or how do you see the industry going as a whole right now?
I think we're moving ahead.
Yeah.
I think that the 2-year pandemic shutdown caused a lot of people to isolate, and I think that probably helped the sale of billiard tables in homes. Because
that and Cloth, Simonis, and Aramith are really, really huge players in the industry, and they're doing tremendous right now.
Well, people got in their homes and said, well, we need to make our own entertainment. And they sit down at the dining room table and they say, yeah, what if we put a pool table in the house? Then we can do this. And I think there's a lot more pool tables going into a lot more houses. And that's going to encourage the growth. I actually, when I was in North Carolina, at one point, I had an arrangement with a store that sold retail tables, and they would pay me a small fee, but anybody that bought a new table got 2 hours of in-home instruction on how to play.
Right.
And
that's good business between the two of you.
It was a good business arrangement. It was something they could give out. It was something I could go do. And I've found a large majority of students that I offer a 2-hour class to, when we're finished, they're like, hey, we need more. And so it's kind of an introductory thing. You know,
of course.
Here's your free trial.
Yeah.
See what you think. It's all good business.
Yeah. So where do you see the future of pool going?
I think we've learned that you can have virtual pool tournaments. There's been a lot of that going on, and I don't think that's going to go away. I think that pool rooms are going to continue because people do want to get out. People want to socialize.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're not going to give up on pool halls. We're not going to give up on tournaments. We're just going to enhance it with video tournaments and things like that. So the future, I think it's very bright. I'm thrilled to be here. I wish I had 30 more years to teach, because I could have a ball doing it. I know.
Right, of course.
But yeah, there's I feel positive about it. I think the business as a whole is everybody hit a roadblock during the COVID.
During the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's, for the most part, behind us. It is definitely behind us in Florida. If y'all are stuck in a house somewhere and want to get out, come on down. It's sunny and 85, and we are open down here.
Yeah.
We're wide open.
How do you deal with hurricane season?
I have, depending on where a hurricane's coming from. Okay, I'm in Daytona. I'm right in the middle of the East Coast. Mm-hmm. If it's going south, I can go north. I've got family and friends that live up north. If it's going to be going up along the coast, I have family over in Central Florida that I can go see. There's ways to get around it, but I've been through 2 of the biggest hurricanes this country ever had years ago. I was in North Carolina when Hurricane Hugo hit.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I moved to West Palm Beach, Florida, and Hurricane Andrew came through South Florida. So I'm starting to think, okay, these storms are chasing me. But,
right.
But it really... if you know it's coming, you get out.
Right.
I do. Okay. I'm not here to have a storm party or anything like that. I'm just let's go someplace and let it do its thing, and then I'll come back and clean up.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Kat, would you mind running that Fort Worth Billiards ad again at the end here?
Sure.
Do you have any closing or final words here about the instructing community that's out there, and how to kind of find an instructor that's right for you?
Well, sure. My suggestion would be you need to talk to 2 or 3 different instructors. Don't just call the one that lives closest to you and say, hey, I need lessons. Talk to them. Ask them and see what kind of questions they ask you. Okay. If you call me and ask me for instruction, I'm going to say, tell me what your goals are.
Yeah.
I want to know where you want to be, and then develop a plan that we can both work on to get you there. But your personality and mine may not click. It happens. So I say, talk to 2 or 3 different instructors. Find somebody that you enjoy talking to, that you think is going to meet your needs, and then it's a done deal. Don't go to 2 or 3 different instructors at the same time, because it'll only confuse you.
Right.
Find the one you like and stick with them. And when you're done, then you can go, wow, I learned so much from him. I think I want to go to somebody else and see what else I can learn. And that's what I've done. Over the past 20 years, I have been to at least a half a dozen master instructors and sat in their class just to see what they're teaching and how they're teaching it. Because that's how I get better. So as a player, do the same thing. Go, one at a time. Go to your different instructors and see what you can learn from them. You'd be amazed at how much knowledge you think you have that you find out, wow, that's amazing.
There's a lot more to learn. There's always a lot more to learn.
Always. It's, somebody asked me one time, they said, well, how long does it take me to get good? I said, I don't know. I'll let you know when I get there. I'm still on that journey.
Right.
So it's not a destination or a goal. It's a journey. And we just have to look at pool. And the good thing about pool, there's no age limit. Anybody can play. As long as you can stand up at the table and in some cases even sit at the table, you can play pool. So it's a wide open sport, and my biggest wish would be that, like, the Olympics would recognize it and say, hey, this is something that people can compete at, and we need to get involved in it. I'd love to see that. I love the Moscone Cup. I think it's a great concept. What more can you ask for than 2 countries competing against each other, and the fans are rooting for their team versus that team? And I think we need to develop that in pool more.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We really appreciate having you.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it, and hope I've been able to answer some questions for you.
Of course, of course. We'd like to have you on again sometime.
Just give me a call. I'm available.
All right. Sounds good. Kat, why don't you go ahead and run that commercial for Fort Worth Billiards,
Okay.
Alberto, and we'll get that going. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Good night.
night.